You know that feeling when you leave a supermarket and you just get this little nagging sense that you missed something? Well, today, we're going to peel back the curtain on your everyday shopping trip. And trust me, you'll want to see what's really going on. So, I want you to keep this question in your mind as we go through this, because the answer, well, it reveals a flaw that's hiding in plain sight. It's like a tiny crack in the very system you trust week after week. And this quote just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? These aren't just little annoyances we're talking about. Every single mistake, every wasted minute, it's a permanent loss. You can't get it back. It all starts with one single, what seems like a small mistake. But as you're about to see, these small mistakes, they can be warning signs for much, much bigger problems. So let's dive into a real-world example. Now, our story comes from a shopper who has this really unique perspective. See, they're not just a customer walking in off the street. They're also a shareholder in the company. So they have a personal stake in how well the store is run, which makes their observations incredibly sharp. So they're buying some local red rice, and they notice something's off. The price. It's just wrong. They were about to be overcharged by 40 rupees for every single kilo. Now, that might not sound like a fortune, but just imagine that error happening over and over with hundreds of customers, day in and day out. It adds up. Okay, so a mistake was made, money was almost lost. But when they pointed it out, you guessed it, zero apologies, nothing. Just a kind of annoyed, curt correction. So this isn't just about a pricing mistake anymore. It's about a whole culture of carelessness. Right, so we've seen how these errors can hit you in the wallet. But what about the one thing you can never, ever get back? Your time. Let's take a look at how these tiny little inefficiencies really start to stack up. Picture this. We've all been there. It's the busiest time of day, you're in a hurry, you finally get to the weighing station for your vegetables, and the machine is out of those little label stickers. So everything grinds to a halt while an employee slowly, and I mean slowly, replaces the roll. This isn't just a random accident. It's a recurring bottleneck. A simple failure to be prepared creates a super frustrating 5-minute delay for every single person standing in that line. And what's so wild is how easy these problems are to fix. The source suggests a really simple, elegant solution. Just move the scales to the checkout counters. That's it. No more separate stations, no more running out of labels in the middle of the store, no more pointless limes. It saves time, it saves money, it just makes sense. Okay, so we've seen errors that cost you money and errors that cost you your time. But what if these are just symptoms? What if they're signs of a much bigger, almost invisible problem? You're going to want to stay with us because the real crack in the system is what we're about to uncover. This is where we make a huge pivot. We're moving way beyond just customer inconvenience now. We're looking at a fundamental weakness that actually threatens the entire business. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. A 40 rupee mistake? A 5-minute wait? Come on! In the grand scheme of things, is it really that important? And you know what? That is a totally fair question. But the answer is a massive, resounding yes. So here's the crucial point. We need to stop thinking about these as just isolated incidents. We have to start seeing them for what they really are, system vulnerabilities. These are weaknesses that are literally baked into the daily operations, and they create openings for much, much bigger losses. And here it is. This is the absolute heart of the issue. A system that is careless enough to accidentally overcharge you is also a system that can be intentionally manipulated to undercharge. Think about it. If a staff member can make a mistake that costs you money, they, or maybe a friend of theirs, could just as easily make a mistake that benefits them at the company's expense. This isn't about poor service anymore. This is a massive risk to the store's inventory and its revenue. So, knowing all this, how can you, the shopper, actually protect yourself? Let's move from the problem to the solution for you. Here are 4 simple but really powerful habits to get into. First, Always check the price per kilo, not just the final price on the sticker. Second, give your final bill a quick scan before you tap your card. Third, value your own time. If you keep seeing the same delays, that's a red flag. And finally, remember what we've learned today. Small, repeated errors are almost always symptoms of bigger, hidden issues. All right, let's bring this all home and finally answer that question we started with, but this time, let's look at it from the perspective of an owner. So, is your weekly shopping trip costing you more than you think? Absolutely. But the true hidden cost isn't the handful of rupees you might get overcharged. No. It's the immense vulnerability of a business that allows these errors to happen in the first place. It's the potential for massive systemic loss that ultimately hurts the company, its employees, and yeah, its shareholders. And that's the thought I really want to leave you with. Now that you know what to look for, I bet you'll start seeing these little cracks everywhere you go. So the next time you see a seemingly minor issue, ask yourself, what bigger problem could this be a symptom of? Thank you so much for your time with this explainer. For more knowledge, please do revisit us at King's Academy. We would love to know what you think, so please share your opinion in the comments section. And as always, we read all the comments that are posted, and we reply as soon as we can.